Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first ever Homo Ahimsa Award ceremony. I'm Lisa Levinson with the Interfaith Vegan Coalition and In Defense of Animals, and this is a really special event today. We're so excited to have everybody with us. We have decided to give this award, this Homo Ahimsa Award, our very first ever one, during the season of nonviolence, which takes place at this special time of year in between the deaths of Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi. So we're very delighted to bring you this special program to celebrate nonviolence during the season of nonviolence. And this is also Activist Appreciation Month, so a special time to honor activists worldwide, which is why our Interfaith Vegan Coalition is doing so today. So again, Lisa Levinson, co-founder of the Interfaith Vegan Coalition. I'm one of your hosts today for this program, and I'm going to introduce my co-host, Judy Carman, author of Peace to All Beings and the co-founder of the Interfaith Vegan Coalition. Hi, Judy.
It's wonderful to be here, and thank you, Lisa. We're really, as Lisa said, very excited about this. Our first Homo Ahimsa Award, and our awardees are here with us and looking wonderful, and so we're just thrilled. But I need to introduce you all to the idea of Homo Ahimsa. It's actually the name of a book that I wrote, and it's also a word that is in Sailesh's chart, where he is showing how we're going to go from being Homo sapiens to Homo Ahimsa. And we need to do it soon. As we all know, we don't have a whole lot of time. I coined that term back in about 2003 when I wrote Peace to All Beings. And the idea of it was, we are all already Homo Ahimsa. We just haven't awakened to that yet. And Ahimsa basically means non-harm. That's the literal translation of it in Sanskrit. But it's so much more than that. And I wanted to quote this wonderful quote by Sivananda Saraswati. He wrote, "There is only one religion, and that is love of heart, the religion of love of heart. There is only one message, the message of Ahimsa, the message of beholding one's own self in all beings." And I also thought it would be helpful to go over the American Vegan Society's definition of Ahimsa. It's really so beautiful. They call it dynamic harmlessness. Jay and Freya Dinshaw founded that group and introduced the idea of Ahimsa in many ways to a lot of people in America. And so they have it as an acrostic. So the word Ahimsa, each letter relates to a very important part of Ahimsa, so it's very clever. So A is abstinence from animal products, vegan. Vegan is Ahimsa, which is just such a beautiful thought. Harmlessness is the H, with reverence for life. Integrity is the I, of thought, word, and deed. Mastery is the M, mastery over oneself. Service is the S, service to humanity, nature, and creation. And A, the last letter, advancement of understanding and truth. And so I think we can all agree that Dr. Sailesh Rao and his granddaughter, Kimaya, are certainly evidence all of that in their lives. And basically what the award is about is that we want to help showcase people who live in this way now, so that other people who are moving in this direction can see, so that's how you do it. Okay, And of course, if you go to the websites that Sailesh has created, the Climate Healers and Vegan World 2026, you can see so many wonderful ideas of how we're going to get there and how we need to behave in order to get there. Not only the healing of the planet and the animals, but also our own healing of our own wounding from the way we have been taught and the domination paradigm that we've been living under for at least 10,000 years. So we have a ways to go, but we're getting there, and thanks to Sailesh and Kimaya, we have models to follow. So with that being said, I would now like to introduce Thomas, who is an amazing person also, Thomas Jackson, and that's his daughter Melody there beside him, and she was a big influence on Thomas, Melody was, in creating his film, A Prayer for Compassion. And so he's going to tell us a little bit more about Kimaya and Sailesh and how they show us how to be Homo Ahimsa. Thanks, Thomas.
Hi, Judy. Thanks, Judy and Lisa. And, it's such an honor and pleasure to join everyone today as we come together to celebrate two of my favorite people on the planet. Dr. Sailesh Rao and his granddaughter, Kimaya, are both amazing beings who exemplify the qualities of Homo Ahimsa, striving to do the least harm while sharing compassion and unconditional love with everyone they meet. My first interview with Dr. Rao, he told me about how he had first heard Al Gore's slideshow presentation of An Inconvenient Truth on a local public access station. And then he went straight to his wife, Janie, and said, "Look, if half of what Al Gore is saying is true, we're wasting our time trying to create a faster computer processor." So they agreed that he should take some time off and to study the situation. Only, just a few months later, though, he realized that after he had done all this research, that Al Gore was an optimist, that the situation was much worse than the former vice president was saying. I can only imagine the courage and commitment it must have taken for him to walk away from what he thought to be his life's work to create climate healers and to dedicate his life to making a more compassionate and sustainable world for future generations where nonviolence and cooperation are the norm. Since that first interview, I've had so many wonderful honors and privileges to travel with Dr. Rao. We've traveled in the US and abroad, and our last adventure was to India, where I joined him for 3 weeks in 9 cities of a 14-city compassion and action tour. And there we shared the documentary A Prayer for Compassion, and he gave up to 3 talks a day. And whether he was speaking at an elementary school, a university, a community center, or a temple, or just people that we ran into on the street, he was always able to connect to their heart, both of the young and the old, through his incredible storytelling ability. And he would help them make connections between what they were putting on their plates and how it affected the world around us, reminding them of their true compassionate vegan nature and guiding them in aligning their actions with that nature. And he would encourage them to choose a Homo Ahimsa lifestyle. We shared many long days of traveling by plane and train and automobile, buses, and even a ferry boat. And though the road was often bumpy and we had to endure many obstacles in our path, he never wavered from his purpose and commitment. And I never once heard him complain. With the patience and gentle kindness, he was relentless in his pursuit of spreading the gospel of Ahimsa and spiritual alignment. And he inspired everyone he met along the way. There were many days of little sleep where I wasn't sure I could keep up with him. Yet every morning when I woke up and I would sleep to the last moment possible, he would already be awake. He would be in deep meditation and preparing for whatever challenges that day brought us. And he never failed to stay centered and calm and connected to his internal Homo Ahimsa nature, even in the moments of interpersonal conflicts that may that rose up around us at times and with those that disagreed with him. He almost always would win those people over with his compassion and his passion and his logical point of view. He used his training as a systems engineer to create a train of thought that no one could derail and that no one could dispute. One of my favorite memories of that was when we were in Goa. We were at a Q&A, and one of his friends from college, who was also an engineer, had got into a debate with him. And before the debate was over, he admitted his defeat. He said he admitted that Dr. Rao's argument was solid and reasonable, and so he bowed to him. And one of my favorite memories. And over, though, I watched as person in person that he, as we would speak and he would speak, I saw person after person on the spot dedicate themselves to changing their lifestyle habits just by his light and his passion and his rational words. I've also been moved and inspired for his love and respect for Kimaya, his granddaughter, and his teacher, who not only inspires him to work tirelessly to create this more compassionate world, but she's often the catalyst and the originator of many of his specific missions, including the Vegan World 2026 and his Peaky Promise Tour. And in 2019, when we were traveling India, she had given him a directive for the year to make the impossible possible. And over, he would tell people that was what he was doing at his boss's, there's a duck behind us, at her directive. And I'm also, and Melody, we're both inspired by Kimaya and the work she does with Animal Hero Kids and the $1 Million Vegan campaign. We also love the way the two Vegan World 2026 that we attended, she would close out the ceremony singing Jane Velez Mitchell's Be Kind Already. And that would always bring everybody to up and clapping and standing ovations. And the other thing that we've always admired and always inspired me is how on her birthday, instead of having a party just to celebrate herself, she would bring all of her friends together and they would make food and they would feed the homeless. And, it's her sweet and kind heart that is a perfect example of the new emerging Homo Ahimsa, which we should all aspire to be. During all of those long hours and miles that I shared with Dr. Rao and the countless information that he shared with me and during his talks, they have forever changed who I am as a person. And I feel like it's for the better. His wisdom and his teachings have awakened within me the gospel of spiritual alignment. And it's the main reason why today I call myself a vegangelist. And I'm so proud and so excited that we're honoring him and Kimaya today with this first our first Interfaith Vegan Coalition Homo Ahimsa Award. And I'm also very proud to call him my guru and my friend. A couple of days ago, I cut together a little sneak peek of our journey through India to give everybody a taste of the Compassion in Action Tour and to see Dr. Rao in action. And if Lisa will play that, we'll take a minute and watch that.
A vegan is someone who doesn't want to hurt animals unnecessarily. Who wants to hurt animals unnecessarily? Nobody. Then you're all vegans.
Because when we get rid of dairy, then all that land that is being used now to graze our cows becomes available. So the whole ecosystem is affected by us consuming milk.
It's not that complicated. Stop throwing fuel on the fire, and then you have a duty to persuade others to stop throwing fuel on the fire.
want to like convey the message?
The message I want to say is if the world was vegan, you can literally reverse climate change. Reverse climate change.
Climate change is happening because of this?
Absolutely.
How come?
Because we are cutting down forests to graze animals.
And to raise food for
37%
animals.
of the land area of the planet is now used just to graze animals.
We are cutting down forests to graze animals?
Yes. So when everyone goes vegan, you're having negative emissions. So you're sucking down 34 gigatons of carbon every year. And when you're eating animals right now, we are emitting about 21 gigatons of carbon. The difference between the two is 55 gigatons, which is about 87% of the total.
That's what the movies have done, the documentaries, and then the webinars that we are doing. This is about connecting people and giving them all the information they need to become effective activists.
Immediately she sat up in bed. She said, "What? Are you telling me that animals are my family?" I said, "Now that you put it that way, yeah, they are your family." She said, "Then why are people eating my family?" And she started bawling. She was crying. She was saying, "Grandpa, make them stop. They're eating my family. Do you know?" She started naming names of all the people she knows who are eating her family. And my job was to put her to bed. And here this girl was crying away. So I told her, "Kimaya, this is what I do. In fact, this is what I've been trying to do for the last several years. It's my job to make them stop." And she stopped crying and she looked at me. She said, "This is your job? You haven't done your job. When will you do your job?" And I said, "I have to do it by 2026, otherwise we are all in big trouble." Then she made me promise. She said, "You promised me that this will be done by 2026. I said, "Sure." And she said, "Will you give me a pinky promise?" I said, "Sure." So she gave me a pinky promise, and then she said, "You can never ever break a pinky promise." And then she went to sleep.
What you might not have noticed is that everywhere we went, Dr. Rao was started the conversation. I love the conversation with the man on the train. Right before that, we'd gotten into Perrine, who was traveling with us at that time. She had started a conversation with a gentleman in his group of people traveling with him, and everybody in the train was listening in. And that's why the guy behind us stuck his head over and started asking questions. And also, I don't know if you noticed, like in the radio station, there was a sign for a dairy company behind him, one of the sponsors of the radio station. And I remember thinking just how that showed the prevalence of dairy all around us when we were in India, and how Dr. Rao had the courage to speak the truth, right in front of the people who were sponsored by the people who were trying to put out of business. But that's pretty much all I had. So I just wanted to congratulate again Dr. Rao and Kimaya, and I can't think of two people who deserve it anymore. It's like I really am inspired by your dedication and how you show up every day to really make a better world. And I also get the privilege of introducing our next speaker, who is another friend of mine and Melody's, Susan Hargreaves, who's the founder of Animal Hero Kids, and she's the author of the Animal Hero Kids books. And she's been teaching children kindness for all and advocating for animals for over 40 years. She's going to tell us a little bit more about Kimaya.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Everybody hear me okay? Yes? So yes, I'm Susan with Animal Hero Kids, and we give kindness education to all, and really, Kimaya is in our Animal Hero Kids book. You can see her right there. And the book we donate to school library, and I do presentations like State of the Animal Nation, from the scientific point of view with evolution and how really humans are meant not to be, and family studies classes and education, prevention, animal cruelty prevention, education about how to help the planet, how to be kind to each other. I don't know if this sounds funny, but I'm hearing somebody has there. So that sound. Can you hear that? Like I said,
You're
we don't
breaking
hear,
up a little.
Yeah, we don't hear the extra sound, but it's breaking up a tiny bit. But that's okay. Keep going. And
so what's so wonderful about Maya's work, Animal Hero Kids, we have 5-year-olds right up until 19-year-olds who are speaking up for other animals on all sorts of things. And one of them is the scientific aspect. And we have a video that we'd like to show where Maya talks about the science behind stopping eating animals and how we can help them. So I'm hoping that somebody else can do that part of this. All that stuff. You have the video there, Lisa. I hope.
No worries. I am going to do that. So hopefully we'll.
And I have to, and both grandfather and Kimaya are breaths of fresh air, and Animal Hero Kids has benefited from Kimaya's voice in the videos that we did with $1 Million Vegan and Animal Hero Kids in London, and this is the video that you're going to see. We have a whole vault of videos that are education, but Animal Hero Kids are explaining the scientific education behind going vegan. So here it is.
Hey adults, are you ready for today's lesson? Come on in, sit down, and get ready to listen up. Today's lesson is on deforestation. Before Europeans settled in America, 46% of our land mass was forest. Since then, we've lost 256 million acres, mostly to agriculture. But why, you might ask, do we need so much land to produce our food? And the answer is because we eat animal products. And animal agriculture is really inefficient. Animal farming uses 83% of our farmland, but it gives us just 18% of our calories and just 37% of our protein. So really, we're just wasting that land. We can get more food from less land if we stopped eating meat and just ate plant-based foods instead. We're not the only ones on this planet. We share it with 8 million other species, but 1 million of them are currently threatened with extinction, mostly because of us. And one key reason they're under threat is because we keep cutting down their homes to clear land for grazing farm animals or to grow crops to feed them. It's crazy! And it's also not very nice. How would you like it if a bulldozer ripped down your home and left you with nowhere to go? Well, wild animals need their homes too. Trees are good for wildlife, for bees, butterflies, bugs, and birds. Trees are good for us because they make oxygen. And what do we need to breathe? Oxygen! And trees are good for the planet. They take carbon from the atmosphere and store it away. If we stop eating animal products, we can reduce the farmland we need by 75%. It can go back to nature, to all the animals who desperately need it. And we should start today.
And it was so wonderful to see that film in London. That butterfly was actually on a clear thread, and somebody was standing up on a loft above Kimaya and shaking that, like doing that butterfly on a thread. It's beautiful, and what a beautiful job you did, Kimaya, and what a beautiful job you always do. And we did our We Animal Hero Kids video that everybody can see on animalherokids.org. And Kimaya opens that up. And what do you say, Kimaya, at the beginning of that? We are
Animal Hero Kids.
Yeah, and it's great. So for all of your work and for all of the Animal Hero Kids work, we often give books, and so I'm going to mail the new book, Veganza, Animal Hero, out to celebrate your award. And in it, we have all kinds of animal heroes and a vegan mermaid and lots of animal heroes. So it's quite a story, Veganza Animal Hero, the first grown-up vegan woman superhero. So I'm going to send that to you. And I want to thank you and everyone for having me on today. And it's time for the world to go vegan. And I'd like to thank James Madison for the Vegan is Love video, which I think we could watch if you have time.
There's something you can do today to help animals in every way.
It's easy. Vegan is love. Vegan is love.
Vegan is love.
Vegan is mammal. Vegan is love. Vegan is love. Love. Love is all you need.
So suffice for me to say, Kimaya, thank you very much for all of your work, all of your heart, and your sincere voice to speak up for animals. And thank you for being a part of Animal Hero Kids and helping us with our mission of educating the world about how the world needs to go vegan and how we need to help all species of animals. After all, that's what we are. We're all animals. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone for having me on today. And now I have to run. But thank you so much. And send us your address and we'll send you the new Veganza Animal Hero book. And go to the Animal Hero Kids Facebook page if you want to see Kimaya sing.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Susan, for joining us. And thank you to everybody who has amazing patience with our technical abilities, but we do want to share as much as we can about our recipients today, Dr. Sailesh Rao and Kimaya Rainy Rao. So right now we actually have Jane Velez Mitchell, who's joined us. She is the force behind Jane Unchained News Network, and one of the most celebrated stations that we have on social media to tune in to all of the animal rights news. So thank you so much, Jane, for joining us today.
Well, thank you. And I am so honored to be able to honor and tout Dr. Sailesh Rao and Kimaya, two of my heroes, my biggest heroes. And I say this often, but it bears repeating. I was in Texas at the Rowdy Girl Sanctuary at a veg fest there, and everybody was having a good old time, and people were eating and shopping, and this guy got up and started talking, and I was going live with my phone, and not that many other people were listening, and he said something that completely transformed my whole outlook on our movement. He said, well, we know that we have to create a vegan world, and we're going to do it. And we're going to do it by 2026. And we know why we have to do it. All we have to do is figure out how. And when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh. And then he said, because he's articulating if we can't even articulate what we want to achieve, how are we going to achieve it? So he articulated, we're going to create a vegan world. We're going to do it by 2026. So he made a deadline. And that's so important too, because we all know nothing gets done without a deadline. So when he said that, it just totally blew my mind. I had never heard anybody say, we are going to create a vegan world by 2026. I'd never heard anybody say, we are going to create a vegan world, just like that, flat out. So then he said, I was instrumental in developing the internet speeds, the rapid acceleration of the internet speeds, and I'm going to use the same methodology that we used to do that. And that is, we're going to take the whole problem and we're going to break it down to a series of challenges or questions. And then we're going to create task force groups to tackle each one of those challenges. And I was like, wow, he's got a plan too. So I was totally taken by this idea. And we ended up doing a documentary called Countdown to Year Zero about Dr. Rao's work. It's on Amazon Prime. Oh, I didn't even think about this, but it just won another award. I just got this, and it's won a couple of awards. Look, it just got right there another award, which is the Depth of Field International Film Festival presents this award, Best of Show, to the environmental documentary Countdown to Year Zero. So you could see it on Amazon Prime. Just put in Countdown to Year Zero, Amazon Prime, it pops right up, and it really showcases his work. And Rebecca is a key part of this work too, because we went to a convergence that Dr. Rao had in Arizona, Mesa, Arizona, where he lives with Kimaya and his whole family and extended family. And we were trying to understand the white paper that Dr. Rao wrote that shows that animal agriculture is the leading cause of climate change. And a lot of it was like, pew, pew, pew. Like I gave up math at algorithms, okay? So if I don't have a calculator, I don't know what anything is. And I'm the kind of person, when I took my SATs, I did a squiggle during the math section. Or if I try to calculate something, I'll calculate it. And the first time it comes out to be $28.50. And the next time it comes out to be $150,000.45. I'm not good at math. So a lot of the stuff was going like, phew. And so we brought Rebecca up. Finally, we said, dumb it down for us, Dr. Rao. And we brought Rebecca up, and she's a kindergarten teacher. And she explained it in a way that most of us in the room could understand. Now, I have to say something. Last night, I was watching, a friend of mine said, Bill Gates is on, and he's talking to Anderson Cooper on CNN. And I tune in because Bill Gates just this past week said, all rich nations need to start eating synthetic meat. Perfect solution? No, but a huge step forward. One of the richest men in the world, the epicenter of the establishment, saying basically we got to get rid of animal agriculture. And then, unfortunately, the issue was ridiculed last night. And actually, he started sort of backpedaling and humphering, and it was very demoralizing. So I went to sleep, and in the middle of the night, I woke up and I had a thought, which I'm going to share with you, because I was tossing and turning, and it was sort of like half asleep. And I said, we need to dumb it down more, because the first thing I thought of was, I'm going to send Dr. Rao's white paper to Bill Gates, to everybody over at CNN where I used to work. I'm going to send it. But the challenge is, are they going to read it? It's super brilliant, but you have to sit there and read a serious thing. And we live in an ADD culture. And it hit me. We need, even though there is a summary on the white paper that is cogent, but you still have to want to read it. We need a letter that comes before it, a little thing that maybe Rebecca can work on that just hits the main points in a fashion that you're going to have to proof this, Kimaya, and say, is it going to be something that my classmates will understand? Okay, so will you help with that? We need to have something that is so simple that it states the essence. Because what they said last night on CNN was, well, we're talking about cow farts. Ha ha ha. What's that? 5% of methane? Now, immediately I was like, 5% of methane? And I honestly wanted to call you up right now. What's the real fact? What's the real fact? So we need to, I know Cowspiracy has something like this. You go to their webpage for the Cowspiracy movie, you'll see a whole bunch of facts. But we need to, your brilliant work that really answers the problem that is plaguing our civilization today, that is the answer that could mean the difference between all life on our planet going extinct or not, to reverse that could offer the solution to reverse climate change. We need to get people to absorb it. And the way we need it is, and Michael from Europe says, I thought the same thing. We need some kind of simplistic bullet points. Because I started talking to the TV. It's like, no, it's not 5%. And you know what? Here's a couple of problems with it. The UN FAO, and then I started thinking, what does FAO stand for again? Food and, see what I mean? Even in my head, I ran into a brick wall. We have to break it down into, you know what they call news? Nuggets of information. Just neat little nuggets of information. That's what we have to do so that the average person can look at this white paper first, the summary, and say, oh, then they can go in further, because we want to get them to absorb the content of the white paper. What do you think about that, Dr. Rao?
Yeah, actually, Jared Bishop has done videos, short summary videos, and he's done like a 9-minute video that summarizes the whole white paper. I would like to send you that, and you can take a look at it and see what you think.
I love that. But I also think just like a brief cover letter, or some kind of bullet points, headlines from the white paper, maybe, because, and I'd love to see that video. I want to send it out to everybody because I was infuriated last night, And that's what I came up with was we need to have something that's so simple that nobody can turn around and go, I'm not going to even look at it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
Oh, thank you. But this is all by way of saying that Dr. Rao's my hero. That's why I did the film on him. And I feel like we all need to get involved with Climate Healers and Vegan World 2026. And I can't wait for the time that we can all meet again in person and have another Convergence, because they're so fun, and the exchange of ideas is so intense. And I urge everybody to get involved. And thank you, Dr. Rao, for all your work. You truly are offering us hope. The last thing I'll say, and Lisa, you didn't tell me how long you wanted me to speak, and my problem is I just talk till I get cut off. But I'll say one last thing. And the last thing is, when the pandemic hit, like everybody else, I was all like, what's happening? I was confused. I was destabilized. And I happened to be doing a live interview with Dr. Rao. And I said, Dr. Rao, what is your analysis? And correct me if I misquote you, Dr. Rao, but you said, it's a tragedy. I feel my heart goes out to everybody who's suffering, who've lost their lives, lost loved ones, lost their jobs. But this is an intervention from Mother Nature. Mother Nature is telling the human race, go to your room, think about how you've been behaving, how you've been treating the natural world, how you've been treating the animals in the natural world, and come out more evolved, or you're finished. And when he said that, it gave me a totally different perspective on the entire pandemic that has allowed me to experience it in a totally different way. and really has helped me get through it. So I want to thank you just on a personal level. That gave me a perspective and a pair of glasses through which to see this entire pandemic that has really sustained me for an entire year that I have been here since we had the cast party March 9th for New Day, New Chef, the launch party. That's the last party I went to. And aside from walking my dogs and a couple of runs to the vet, I've been here for a whole year. And thanks to Dr. Rao's perspective, I'm not like rocking in the fetal position. I'm doing okay because I realize that this is nature is doing for us what the human race doesn't seem to be able to do for itself.
Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, thank you, Jane. That was very well said. And I'm like you, I can't wait till we can all get back together physically and just really enjoy each other's presence. And even though we're enjoying each other very much right now, it's even better when we're all together. So yeah, and hopefully very soon. And I get to introduce Rebecca Allen, who is a very, very key person involved with Vegan World 2026 and knows Dr. Rao and Kimaya very well. And so I'm very honored and pleased to introduce her to hear what Rebecca would like to share with us.
Thank you, Judy. Dr. Rao and his granddaughter Kimaya are the human butterflies. They have emerged with a vision for all our relatives to live in service to each other. They have inspired the lives of countless people with their generosity of spirit and honesty and wisdom. They provide a vision for the kind of future we all want, a world without harming our animal relatives and living lightly on this earth. Many of us would be less grounded in love and less inspired to do what we do without them. Their confident yet humble voices, the deeply felt singing of Kimaya, and the broad universal wisdom of Dr. Rao move us to be our better selves. Dr. Rao's generosity of spirit includes his time and meetings with individuals and groups and giving talks and hosting Zoom meetings for days, explaining again and again, show not only his patience, but I feel the gift of his seeing that each of us is sacred, as is all life. When I was at the vegan conference, I had almost thought I won't go because I will just watch it on video later. And I actually had the thought, what can I bring to the conference? I will just learn later. And what I found out is I do have something to bring, and we all do. We're all a part of this beautiful world, and we can work together. He also drove over 1,000 miles from Phoenix to Houston in 2018. That may have been when you saw him, Jane. He spoke in Houston, he spoke at the Rowdy Girl Ranch, and then I met him for the first time when he drove to Austin to speak at our church. And he spoke about the coming great transformation, the metamorphosis for us all. I believe he does this out of faith that love and compassion for all will heal not only ourselves, but our earth. Sailesh, inspired by Kimaya, who speaks the truth with innocence and deep knowing, affirm and exemplify Ahimsa. We are blessed to have them in our lives.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. That was absolutely perfect. And it's really a delight to hear what you have to say, because you work so closely with Sailesh and Kimaya. So we have the two awards that, with the help of In Defense of Animals, our Interfaith Vegan Coalition was able to print these out and send them over to our first ever award recipients, Kimaya Rainy Rao and Dr. Sailesh Rao. And we have a symbol of Ahimsa on there, and also the acrostic that was written by the American Vegan Society by J. Denshaw, who brought forth the dynamic harmlessness definition of Ahimsa. So this is our honor as the Interfaith Vegan Coalition to present our very first ever Homo Ahimsa Award to Dr. Rao and his lovely granddaughter, Kimaya. So it's our pleasure. We also have something else to give you, which Judy is going to share. Hi, Judy.
Yes. Hi, Lisa. Yeah, the certificates look beautiful. And in addition to those frameable certificates, we're also going to be giving you both this animal prayer flag. Let's see, let me just grab one. It is, can everybody see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. These are prayer flags that are flying around the world in countries all over the world. And they were made in Kathmandu. They're fair trade, made by peace flag makers, the third or fourth generation peace flag makers. So I'll be sending those, one for Kimaya for her room or wherever she wants to put it, and one to Dr. Rao. And I'll also be sending each of you signed copy of Homo Ahimsa. And I will also be sending a lot of love and respect, admiration. You are such an inspiration to me, and you've done so much for my activism over the years, the last few years since I've met you. I've been an activist for a lot of decades. and it's like Jane says, now I've got a deadline. And I needed that. So congratulations, Dr. Rao, congratulations, Kimaya. I am so honored to be in your presence today, and so happy to be giving this award to you both.
Yay! And now it is our pleasure to invite our recipients, Dr. Rao and Kimaya, if you guys would like to share with the community. What are your thoughts about receiving the award?
Kimaya, you want to go, or can I speak?
Grandpa, you go first.
Okay. What a journey that we are on. I remember in 2016 attending the Animal Rights Conference in Los Angeles and meeting you and being there when the Interfaith Vegan Coalition was first formed. And Kimaya was there with me. And I remember meeting Judy and hearing about the term Homo Ahimsa from her at that time. And so what an incredible journey that we are on since then. That was the year that Kimaya and I had this pinky promise that year. And that happened after the World Wildlife Fund had issued a Living Planet report showing that we are on track to wipe out almost all wildlife by 2026. So when I made that calculation and that happened, reading that story to Kimaya and her quizzing me about it, that allowed us to have this pinky promise. I mean, everything happened during that year. This amazing journey that we are on now started in 2016. And we made a promise that within 10 years, we are going to get there. And to me, it is not a deadline. It really is a lifeline. It's a lifeline for all of us. And we have a choice to make every day. And we have been making choices to promote compassion. And thanks to Judy's vision For 2003, she came up with this idea of Homo Ahimsa, calling us by a different name. Fundamentally changes our outlook on life when you think about it. Because calling ourselves Homo sapiens sapiens, I always felt there was something wrong with that. Because you're calling yourself the wise hominid, and we don't even know what to eat. So it's presumptuous of us to call ourselves wise when we don't even know what to eat. And so I was thinking that we should be calling ourselves Homo stupidus. And of course, when Judy said Homo Ahimsa, I said, that's it. That is the answer. That's taking a Latin word and connecting it with a Sanskrit word, showing that we are coming together as a species from around the world. And it's not calling out, boasting about our characteristic, but it's about defining our character, a character of nonviolence, which is within us at all times, and which is what Kimaya brought to the fore for me. I've always told her that she's the most amazing thing that ever happened in my life, and that she literally turned my life around. And I'm so grateful that she's come to our world to help us be. I think all the children of her age are doing that to all of us, waking us up, because it's time for all of us adults to become children again and to see the world through the eyes of children, through their innocence, through the unselfishness and the compassion that they bring, and the wonder that they bring. Because we are in these times of great transformation, and it is a time of imagining something different and implementing that. And so thank you so much for this. We are really touched. I'm very touched by this. I didn't expect this. I had nominated others for this award. And I'm really touched that you thought I was, and Kimaya and I are deserving of it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rao. It's really sharing the news with you has been one of our highlights. So thank you so much. And also, we'd love to hear, Kimaya, if you're ready to share what your thoughts are.
Well, I think my grandpa basically said most of it already for me, but I'm also very grateful that we have this award, and I think it's like a good thing that we're doing this, so then we get to know more people more faster. So then you don't have to travel all the way around the world just to see people, and it's more easier to get to know them.
Oh, well, that's so beautiful, Kimaya. That's your way. You're spreading the vegan love all around the world. How delightful. So thank you for inspiring so many children, but also for inspiring adults around the world to wake up to this deadline that we have to go vegan and have a vegan world by 2026. So thank you so very much. I'm going to invite all the panelists we'll do a little gallery view of our panelists here. And it looks like people are saying wonderful things in the chat box as well. Thank you to Dr. Rao for all you do. Congratulations for Kimaya. Kimaya, thank you for being such an inspiration. I'm just reading some of these to you all because they're so fabulous. Sailesh, you and Kimaya are most deserving of this award. Thank you both for all your work and your presence. Is there a sweeter man and granddaughter on the planet? So we've got just so many wonderful statements of admiration, adoration, and agreement that this very first ever Homo Ahimsa Award is going to the right people. So it's really been such a pleasure to spend this time celebrating your accomplishments. And thank you to all of the people who joined us, the speakers who shared from their hearts to all of ours. what their experience with you has been and what a pleasure it is to work together on this incredible cause, which has a deadline coming up ASAP, as Jane reminded us. So it's just been such a wonderful opportunity to share in the celebration today with all of you. And we will close with one of our favorite ways of closing, which is it's a lovely gesture, and it's called Namaste Vegan. So you put your hands together, and then as you open them, they turn into the shape of a V, and that is our Namaste Vegan. Yay! This is such a special time together, and for anyone who wants to get involved with the Interfaith Vegan Coalition, you can reach us at interfaithvegancoalition.org. We welcome individuals and organizations to join this and help promote this vegan message of compassion to all traditional and faith-based communities. So we're really trying to wake up the spiritual world with this message, which is key for our Vegan World 2026. So thank you to everyone for joining in the celebration. Have a blessed day, and know that we're all together working on this, and we're so grateful that we get to have the inspiration of Dr. Sailesh Rao and Kimaya Rainy Rao as our Homo Ahimsa leaders. Thanks to everyone. Have a wonderful evening.